Today we're talking condos, and we're going to talk about my favorite condo buildings in the city. I'm going to give you my 3 favorites, and I'm going to talk to you about my 3 least favorite, and then the newest one that's under construction right now. So if you don't know me, I'm Ranni, work for Royal LePage Atlantic here in Halifax, been in the industry 14 years, and I have sold many condos over the years, representing both sellers and buyers on both sides of it. So the big thing to take away from this, not all condos in Halifax are created equal. And if you're thinking about buying one, this video could save you money, but a lot of headache. Today I'm breaking it down. The best condo buildings in Halifax, and not the worst ones, but the worst ones in my opinion. So the best condo building in Halifax, this is arguable because there's 2 very good buildings, the Pavilion and the Roy. And I threw this into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT chose the Pavilion. I personally choose the Roy, and my only reason for that is because the Roy is more exclusive, because the gym facility in the Pavilion is the YMCA, which obviously is open to the public. So you have that kind of interaction, and you have to go to a public gym to work out. So for me, that's the reason I put the Roy number 1, but here was ChatGPT's argument. Pavilion on South Park Street, this is what ChatGPT calls the true Halifax luxury. It's boutique, it's not a massive tower. I do like that actually, which means fewer units, more exclusivity, and better long-term value. Your steps from the public gardens, which is great, hospitals, universities. One cool fact is some of them, the balcony overlooks the Halifax Wanderers, so you can sit on your balcony and watch the Wanderers game in the summer. Obviously having a view of the Citadel Hill is cool as well. Obviously you have front desk service there, concierge. It's really, really luxury. And again, the only reason it didn't make the cut for me was as number 1, it is my number 2. But my number 1 is the Roy, and it's a tower building obviously, but it is very, very nice. They're smaller units, but really great finishes, and all your amenities. So the gym, the pool, the sauna, they have like a yoga room, they have a health room. It's all on one floor, which I think is very great. They obviously have 24-hour front desk people and dog friendly, which I like. But the cool thing about this one is they have a car elevator. They put a car in, brings you up. They also have it's obviously technology that there's a system where as you come in with your car, your unit can be set to what you want. You can have your living room light turn on. You can have the heat turned to this thing. It's very cool. Some of the units have great views. They are losing some of them with the construction downtown. Some units are losing their water views, which is unfortunate. But again, when you buy in this building, you're not really buying for this luxury space in which you're living, but the amenities. They have a massive common room and kitchen area, outdoor balcony, but it's a great building in my opinion. I really like it. My 3rd pick, Bishop's Landing. This was another tough one. I'll give an honorable mention to number 4, but Bishop's Landing to me on the waterfront is just timeless and iconic Halifax lifestyle living downtown. You're right on the boardwalk. You have water views if you're on that side, obviously city views if you're on the front. They have an outdoor pool, again, dog friendly, underground parking, concierge. You know, it's a great building. If you want to be in the heart of downtown in a really strong building that's really well looked after, the Bishop's Landing is definitely one of them. My honorable mention is the Trillium. I really like that building. I love the location. This was like the luxury building when it came out, and it still has those amenities, but it has larger units too, which I'm more of the bigger unit than the amenities kind of guy, just square footage wise, just kind of my real estate brain kicking in there. But the Trillium was the epitome of luxury when that was built, and it still holds great value. And yeah, I really like that building. It just didn't make the cut because how can you argue with Bishop's Landing? It's the mecca center of downtown Halifax waterfront living. Now, I'm not going to call these the worst. I'm just going to call them ones to be careful of if you're considering them. So don't come for me in the comments if you own in this building, because there's reasons to buy in these buildings, but there's also reasons not to be. So my number 1 is Coburg Place. Great location, obviously, but it's an older building. So you got to watch out for some things like special assessments. If you don't know what that is, there's not enough money in the reserve fund from all the condo fees building up, and you need to replace the heating system. Well, the condo owners are going to vote. Are we increasing our condo fees? Are we taking out a loan? Or is everyone in the building paying? And it's just by majority. So if 60% of the owners say, well, I'll pay $5,000, you got to pay the $5,000 or the 10, whatever that special assessment might be. So older buildings, you really got to be careful on that, because location alone doesn't make it a good investment. You got to look at the reserve fund, property management company, how the board is run, read the minutes. That definitely lets you know what's happening with the building. The other thing there is some of the layouts are very dated, so they're not kind of the modern style. So that one there, just kind of some red flags there, be cautious. Another one, which is on the lower price point of things, 281 Windmill Road. This used to be an apartment building years ago. It's not in a great area. It wasn't a great apartment building. That person flipped it over into condos, sold them very cheaply. I know people that bought multiple units in there, redid them and flipped them out. I know people that bought them and used them as rentals. It just has a little bit of a stigma there because the area may have been high crime at one point. Might still be. So you got to watch that. It's smaller units. The great thing on that is it's on the Dartmouth side. If you're in the back end, you might have some harbor views, which is obviously a selling feature for a lot of people. But it was, I think, a good investment when it first flipped out because they were very cheap units. I see the prices are quite higher now, so I'd be very cautious buying there. I think there's some better options in the Clayton Park area that you could go into older buildings that are in better locations for that. Bad condo corporations, that's the biggest red flag. So when you're vetting condos, just the number one thing to look at is what are the condo fees, what do they include, read the minutes, look at the reserve fund, look at the maintenance history, get all those details. Walk through the entire building. Don't just go to the unit. Walk through the common areas. Go look at the parking garage. Go look at your parking space. Go look at your storage space. Walk around the building. Get a sense for how it's looked after and cared for. And use a realtor that has sold condos before. It'd be great if they sold in that building, representing either a buyer or seller. They'd be very familiar. But your biggest asset in purchasing a condo is a really good real estate lawyer. You want one that has represented both sides. They're familiar with the issues, they're familiar with the reserve fund, they're familiar with everything in there because they have to read all these documents every time they represent a buyer or seller. Well, mostly buyers. Sometimes the lawyers don't read the documents if they're representing the seller because it doesn't affect the seller. But it does, if you're a buyer, definitely affects you. So good real estate lawyer is key in a transaction when you're buying a condo. So keep that in mind for sure. One building I'd like to talk about is Navy Lane. That's a project that's underway. That developer had built the north building. I represented a buyer in there. Great units, great location. Again, smaller footprint in the unit, but you're really paying for living in the north end. Like it's the location there. Newer buildings are good because you're not going to have any of the maintenance issues. Nothing should need maintenance for a very, very long time. But that is a nice building. If you want to check it out, just let me know. I can send you some information on it. So here's the takeaway, guys. Obviously, not all condos are created equal. We just went over very different ones. And the difference between a great building and a bad one can cost you not only money, but a lot of headache and stress that you don't need in your life. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or want to know which buildings I'd personally invest, watch this video. Those are the ones I really like, but I do have others that didn't make the list due to time-wise for the video, but there are some great buildings in Halifax, and some that are known, some that aren't as well known. If you got any value from this video, please hit the subscribe. I break down the market every single week in these videos, just in different areas. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for following along.